Yes, O'Neill, good day again. Today's discussion is on a ongoing topic of how do we protect our children online. We're talking now about online education. We're talking about kids who are on their laptop or their tablets and they're actually in classes. But are they in classes? How do you do as a parent? And what can be done to ensure that they are in classes, at least the best of our ability? I want to begin, O'Neill. O'Neill, let's look at the first thing we would do as parents, and I've had to implement because I have a non-biological son. Currently, my own kids are big, but this little one I'm raising now, and I've had to implement some of these strategies, and you've been very pivotal in helping me. And so the first one I want us to discuss is putting on a a parental protection software. And let's discuss that a bit. Go ahead.
Well, there are a number of parental apps and software out there. Some of them are free, free and good. And some of them, of course, you pay a little more and you get more control. So those, of course, as the description you just gave, parental control, they allow the parent to be able to control some aspects of the child's device. For example, you can restrict what type of software they're able to look on, what type of apps, they're able to access, what times they're allowed to access. There are others that allow you to even monitor what they're accessing at a different given time. So there are a number of them that you can put onto your children's
Mhm.
device.
I
Says,
have one that I use. I can mention the name. I use Kaspersky, and I use a free version, and I'm able to block content. So I can block porn. I can also block apps. I can prevent them from downloading certain apps. Um, so yes, and I can set time frame. I can say from X time to Y time. But there's a very important little thing that you have to know when you're putting on apps on your child's gadget, when you're putting on parental control software or other kinds of monitoring software. You have to remember that you have to put the child on a guest account. They cannot be on the administrative account, because if they're on the administrative account, and O'Neill, what happens?
yeah. Well, if they're on the administrative account, they're able to undo what you have done
Exactly.
to a great extent. So a lot of persons don't even know that when you buy a gadget from the store, whether it's a laptop or a tablet, the account that the tablet is in out of the box is the administrative account. That's where you're able to install apps right away without any problems. If you install the different kid apps that your child will be required to use, like Google Classroom and so on, and give it to that child is still in the administrative account. So that
Exactly.
child can go ahead, they can install other things, they can uninstall things, they
Mm-hmm.
can access any of the apps, when we're talking about the tablet. And if it's a computer, the same thing. The child can do anything on the computer once they're in that account. So what the parent has to do is to activate a limited or guest account on the tablet or on the computer. And the good thing is that you can do it on both. You can do it on the computer, you can do it on the tablet. And what that will
Great.
do is that it will restrict the child from being able to install any additional program or any additional app.
Very good. Indeed. So that's the first thing, the parental control monitoring softwares. And we said there are a number of them on the market. But
Yes.
you can, and some of them are in free version, or you can have the paid version, and you get more features in the paid version. The next thing I had to put on was a TV, because that in itself did not take care of all the problems. Because here it is now. Yes, you can control the content and the apps, etc. But children, when you think they're in class, sometimes they're not.
Yes.
They're not. So the team viewer helps. And well, I call the name of the one I use, but there are a number of software on you can access that allows you to be viewing your child's screen at any point of time, so you can see where the child is in, what the child is doing, etc. So the one I chose is TeamViewer, And
Yes.
I chose to purchase my copy of that because the features I got from the professional version, I like the features I was getting, but you can use it free as well. Talk about that for a minute or two, Neil, please.
Yes. Well, as you described, team viewer, that's the name of the software you just mentioned, and similar software, they allow you to see what the child is doing in real time. So you don't even have to be in the same house on the same Wi-Fi. You can be anywhere in the country, in the world for that matter.
You could be at work. And
Yes.
that is one of the good things about it. You could be at a desk at work and you have the tablet open. You're seeing what the child is doing.
Yes. And
Right.
you're able to monitor. You're able to monitor what the child is doing, both on using your computer or your tablet. So you jump in your car, you go for lunch, you can be still monitoring. Um, and that particular one, you're not only able to monitor, but you're able to control to some extent.
Mm,
So if the child is you're able to, all right, so for example, the child's school finishes at 2:30. And you say, all right, cut off point 3:30, 2:30 finish, 3:30, you finish your homework, and your computer should be off. And you find at 4 o'clock you're still at work and the child is still on the computer. You have the ability to use that software and to turn
right.
off that child's
Yes.
device remotely from your
Right.
device.
So you can actually turn on and turn off the child's device from wherever you are.
Yes.
Right. And that's a feature I really enjoy. Um, but even there are loopholes. And you have to remember these kids are very, very savvy. That's why I decided to take the professional version, because sometimes when you use a free version, there might be some level of manipulation a child might be able to do. But listen to this. You have to ensure that your child is not using more than one screen. Your child, even with the two safeguards we have just discussed, your child can have one gadget with the class, another gadget with whatever he feels like watching, and you don't realize the child is in nowhere near doing schoolwork. My experience was the child had an extra monitor.
Okay.
So they had their laptop here, extra monitor, and they were busy watching with movies on one monitor because they knew how to download a software, an app on their screen that allowed them to stream the movie to the monitor while the schoolwork was on their laptop. So the two screens were in operation at the same time.
Well, what happened is that, as you said, because most laptops, probably all laptops, they're able to access an additional screen. So the normal screen that laptop comes with, once you plug an external monitor, you can have two monitors operating simultaneously. So what some persons do is that they some children, some of the youngsters, they have their legitimate classwork going on the screen of the laptop,
Yes,
and on that additional screen, they have all sort of stuff going on with a game or a movie or whatever
exactly.
else.
Yes,
Yes, so it's easier to restrict them to one monitor because it's rare that
that's
you
the
will
way to
have
do it.
it's rare that
Yeah.
a child would need an additional monitor.
And that is why you have to, because you see, the reason I got knowledgeable about that, because that thing bit me. Because I used to leave a TV monitor out on the table, and the child was connected to the laptop. I didn't even realize it was happening.
Okay, okay.
So it happens down at home. So they know. So the extra TV was there, and the child was busy. They had connected it via a VGA cable to the laptop,
Yes.
and was having the two screens and used a software so they could run the two screens. So on the team viewer, it's showing schoolwork.
Yes, but just to clarify, there's no special software required to do that, It's it's a
Okay,
it's a built-in feature on every laptop that
okay.
once that it allows you to have an additional monitor.
And so that's what I have to do, ensure that there's no other monitor, TV, anything around the class area.
The thing about the TeamViewer though, the particular software that you use is that you're
Mhm.
able to switch between both monitors, but it's not
Yes.
always obvious that there's an additional monitor there.
And sometimes what is happening, maybe I didn't even know that. That's new knowledge for me too.
Yes.
You understand? So you're always learning, right? And you're always trying to see. Let's see if there's any other um right. One other thing I want to discuss here is that you have to make sure passwords are on both accounts, both the admin and the guest.
Yes.
I'm of the thought that some parents allow their kids too much freedom on gadgets. And I believe they're destroying the children without realizing.
Hmm.
So I personally I use a password on both. It gives me a level of control. So the child can't just run in and out of the gadget. It's like almost running in and out of a road. You understand?
Yes.
In and out of your house. Or I'm going out to the neighbors and I'm going down the road. I'm going here. The password allows the control. So if
Yes.
the child is going to go into any account, even the guest account, the child has to get the password. The
Yes.
child, the parent has to put in the password. Right. You think that's valuable? What do you think?
It's valuable, Pastor. It's valuable because apart from the malicious content that a child can access on the internet, we're also looking at the whole social development of the child. A lot of persons nowadays are too dependent on gadgets,
Yes.
and so you want to protect the child. You want the child to grow up more rounded. Then you put the passwords that it restricts how much time the child can spend on the tablet or on the device. Because the more time you're allowed to waste on the device is the less time you're spending on your schoolwork or doing other things that are beneficial to a normal upbringing of a human being, like going out, and walking and so on. Because a child, and I've experienced with it, I've seen it for myself. If you allow them, they will spend the entire day and the
Of course.
nights on
Of
the
course.
devices. So
Let-
you have to restrict them
yes.
using that password, that door, that digital door, then the password.
Let me say here too that if it can be done, schoolwork should have a designated device. So the child is on that gadget just for school, if possible. I know that's a very, very expensive option for some parents, but it's better to have a designated device. School, here's your school laptop. Get to or your school tablet, get to work. School is
Mhm.
over, give me that. Right? Um, is there any benefit to that?
Yes. I was in a session recently. It was a community put on by a community group, and as a guidance counselor was sharing that a lot we have to explain to the children that the tablet or the laptop is now a working tool. Because previously, when you tell a child that you're going to give them a tablet, it's a wow, it's for recreation, it's for YouTube, and it's for this game and that game. But overnight, via COVID, that same tablet has now become a critical part of the child's schooling. So it's important now to explain to them that, hey, this is not a toy now. This is not for your recreation now. It's for school. It's for serious school activity. And that's no technology thing now. That is you going one on one with the child and living with the child for them to understand, here where things are at. So I definitely see the merits of, having a designated device, so that when
Yes.
the child picks that up psychologically, they know that, hey,
Child,
this
no,
is
I'm in
school
school.
time.
I'm in
Yes.
school. And
Mhm.
it also gives them less time to go and fiddle with the settings and crack and hack and do whatever because remember, they're not stupid,
Yes.
right? They're very savvy. So that mode of giving them a designated device takes away certain a time option to fiddle with the settings and do all kinds of things. And boy, I can tell you they're savvy. I'll just add one thing here for the benefit of the children online on their online experience in terms of academics. Um, Wi-Fi, it is best to use Ethernet. This is not a safety matter, no, but the Ethernet helps the flow, etc., of the services and helps the child to get along. No, I want to close this discussion with something. There are parents that might be listening and say, me can't bother.
Mhm.
Let me translate. I cannot be bothered with all of that work. That sounds like work for me. Before I even go there, I saw a WhatsApp message this morning. It was actually giving some idea of the tricks and trades that children are up to in the whole matter of dodging schoolwork. So when, for example, I'll give you one. When you check and you see submitted that the child in has submitted a particular piece of work, I haven't totally watched this video. I don't know if you have, O'Neill, but it's actually saying the child can be submitted a blank work. He could have answered one question or submitted, just so a parent is going to see submitted.
Yes.
I want to close with understanding why parents are frustrated and why they're saying, I can't take this. This is too much. It's like I have to be learning so many new things, new expenses, new experiences. And just to say that, to encourage you that whether we like it or not, we have to just move with the time. Some parents might say, I am not going through all that trouble. Yes, you must, because it's your child is worth it. Listen to me. When your child is in face to face, in person classes, there's a principal, vice principals, dean of disciplines, teachers, prefects, and monitors, and security guards, all monitoring that child in the in school experience. When the child is online, all of those are removed in person. And so the things that we've suggested becomes these things become, sorry, the means of monitoring. It's new, it's different, and it seems extremely tedious. But you see, we just have to make our minds to flow with what is and to just move into what is now the norm.